How's it going?
Good, you?
You're Tom, right?
Yeah.
I'm Sean.
I know, Sean.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
We met with the, landing my drone in your,
Oh, yeah.
in the swamp there.
Yeah, that's right. Where's you been before?
Am I supposed to be up there? or-
We're going to have you come up here.
Okay.
and I'll administer the oath of office.
Okay.
You can just go over to me if you want to.
Oh, right there.
Or does it matter?
All right.
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you, Sean. What's your name?
Lloyd Johnson.
Lloyd. I heard some stories about you.
I was quite a few. Mike Stan.
Mike, nice to meet you.
I'm Tracy, I'm the chair.
You're the chair? What, Tracy?
Yep,
You're,
you're
I'm Kirby's one that
Yes.
encouraged me to come down, so. I'm Sean.
Sylvia Henry.
What is it?
Sylvia.
Sylvia, pleasure to meet you.
Justin.
Justin, nice to meet you.
I'm Ryan Grimmett, I'm a city planner.
Okay, cool. Nice to meet y'all.
You want to come on up?
Oh, I guess I'm there.
I'm gonna call the order first.
We have a call
I was just waiting for him to come. I'm gonna call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order Wednesday, February 12th at noon, at 7 p.m. And then we will have oath of office for Mr. Sean Cuff.
All right,
You want to raise your right hand?
Okay. all right. I, Sean Cuff, do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will faithfully, justly, and impartially discharge the duties of the Planning and Zoning Commissioner for the City of Montrose, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
So that if you want to sign that, hand that to Tracy and she can hand it to
Okay.
me. Okay.
Sounds good.
Do you need a pen?
I'll grab this one here.
Okay. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Lloyd Johnson.
Sean Cuff.
Mike Scanlon.
Tracy Grunow.
Sylvia Henry.
Justin Emery.
Deb Belter.
Ryan Grimmett.
We will now stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will call for a motion for approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approval of the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of agenda as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now entertain a motion for approval of minutes from the January 8th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 8th, 2020, planning and zoning minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 8th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission. I will entertain, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Old business, consider administrative fines and abatement process. Can we have an update?
Thank you, Chair. So at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we tabled action on a administrative fine and abatement process ordinance update. The Commission requested 4 different things from staff, and that was to create a definition of hearing officer, provide a specific number of days to correct a violation, and provide a specific outline for code enforcement procedure, and also provide examples of some other communities in the area that have an abatement process and and a fine schedule. So I put those 3 ordinance updates together, and I've also added the city of Otsego and the city of St. Francis, their process, which is in the back of your packet. So as far as the definition of hearing officer, that can be found on page 13 in your packet. And that is, the hearing officer shall be a neutral third party that has no direct connection to the city or the person requesting a hearing. The hearing officer shall be a land use attorney or have similar qualifications. And then provide a specific number of days to correct a violation. That can be found on page 17 and 18 in your packet. And that, if you have a color copy of the packet, the updates are in red. I don't know if we did do, okay, color copies. I printed mine in black and white and then realized what I did wrong. So the addition there is that for the enforcement procedure, I added a third provision that if necessary, a third letter shall be sent by the city attorney via certified mail. Before we didn't have that, we just had the earlier language there. And then also on the top of page 18 is the deadline or the process for compliance and the steps necessary. So unless the deadline for compliance is specifically noted by ordinance, the person will have 30 days or less depending on what the zoning administrator decides. So that's kind of what I came up with there in that section. So yeah, we can jump to questions here. That was about it. But
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
The only question I have about that is, so after you send 3 letters, it says that in no case shall the deadline be longer than 30 days from the date of the first letter mailed. So if you have to go 3 letters, you might be 30 days before you even get to it. So I don't know if there's some way of cleaning that up.
I think it should be 30 days from the date of the
Last
last
letter.
notice.
Yes.
Because, I don't know, typically, I don't know, like in the field that I work in, we mail a letter and then in 2 weeks we mail another one, and then in 2 weeks we mail another one. So we're 6 weeks out from the first letter by the time they get their third letter.
So I
So I would
agree.
say
I think it should be from the last letter.
From the
mailed.
last notice.
From the last, so just change first to last.
Yeah, because we only said 1, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But now if you get into 3, because we have it in the ordinance that we can go that far.
Yeah.
So if one is the last one, then it's 30 days from that one.
Right.
So if we only do one, then it's gonna be 30 days, but if it's 3, you're talking maybe 60 days, you know what I mean? 60 days
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Yeah, I see the glitch there with that.
They might not have the time to do what needs to be done if they don't have the 30 days. And if that's what we're offering, then you gotta kind of give it to them in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
I thought about that too. I can't think of a situation where a city gave someone more than 30 days for code enforcement compliance, at least on the first letter. It would be really rare that we would go longer than that, at least up front. I mean, if they ask for more time, we might work with them, but I would think that the first notice is always going to be, you have 30 days to get this fixed.
But if somebody's gonna ignore you, and you have it in the ordinance that
Yeah.
says that they can go to they keep ignoring it, and you have to go to the third letter.
Then you want it to say.
Then you got,
Yeah,
you'd be past 30 days and it's all moot.
yeah,
So that's the only thing I can see. in here.
Because, I mean, you mail one, and you gotta give them time to respond. So they may get it and then respond for a week, and then you're not gonna get the, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't mail those letters back to back to back. You can't mail 3 letters in a week. You gotta give them a little bit of time. So if you space them out, you're gonna be more than 30 days from that first
Yeah.
letter. Just to,
okay.
That was my thought.
I have a question back on the hearing officer. So
Okay.
it needs to be land use attorney or have similar qualifications. Do we have any land use attorneys in the area?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. And what's the average cost, do we know? What do they charge an hour, just out of curiosity?
I wouldn't know.
Okay, okay. But we do have some in the area, so it's not like we'd have to be going outside of Wright County to find a land use attorney to come in to have a hearing for us. That would cost us more money.
I don't think so. My thought is that staff will put together a list
Okay.
of eligible attorneys, and we'll have that list just kind of on reserve. And yeah, maybe some of them are based out of St. Cloud or somewhere, but I would think we could find plenty in the,
I think we got a few in Buffalo.
yeah, I'm sure,
I know
I
we
mean, it seems like half the businesses in Buffalo are law offices to me,
Well,
but.
yeah,
Just a thought, because I mean, you don't want to be passing in a ton of money when you have to start using an attorney, so you want someone who's at least a little local and you're not having to pay travel costs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't suspect we're gonna be having to bring somebody out from St. Paul or somewhere, but
Okay. And
I would say
it hasn't
St. Cloud is gonna be the furthest we would have to go, and that would
won't
be
happen
it.
very often anyways, so. Anybody else have any more questions with the updates? Thoughts?
No, the hearing officer was the other one I had too, so. That is the answer.
So I'm gonna throw this out there to the commission. I want everybody's honest opinion on how you think this looks, and do you think we're ready to send it to council for approval? Justin?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
What we're talking about right now? Yeah, and I agree that we should adjust it for that last, what you just got done talking about. But other than that, yeah.
Lloyd,
Okay.
you think it looks okay?
Yeah.
So do we have any more questions or corrections to the way the new administrative fines and abatement process ordinance updates stands?
I do not.
So hearing no further questions or concerns, I'm going to entertain a motion to send the new administrative fines and abatement process ordinance to council with that one minor change made to go from first notice to last notices mailed. Any other corrections to this ordinance?
I don't think so.
So I will entertain a motion for,
You just made it, so moved.
I can't make it. What?
I'll
I'm the
make
chair.
a motion to send it to council for approval.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to send the administrative fines and abatement process ordinance to council for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So this will go to council for March. New business, city planner updates.
I spoke through email with the developers of the preserve, and they are still working on finding a contractor that can go out and do the utility testing out on that site. I talked to him through email, I think it was either last week or the week before, and I kind of got the feeling that they may have gotten a bid or two and they have not gotten a price point that they can afford yet. I don't know how much we dove into this last meeting, but all the utility lines out there need to be tested because they were put in and then never used. So there's concern that the utilities are damaged or not working or won't hold pressure or this or that. So they're trying to find a contractor that can go out and test the water and sewer lines to see if they'll hold pressure is how you test it. And they haven't been able to find a company to do that yet, but they are still looking at finding a company. They are still working on it, so hopefully we'll hear more here soon.
So my question is, if they can't get a reasonable price, they're going to back out?
It's hard to speak.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Councilmember Marsla can comment too, because he was in that meeting. They did some initial testing, and there is a problem out there. They couldn't get water pressure. And so they had at that point spent $10,000 or $15,000, and they had told the contractor will go up to whatever amount it was, 10 or 15, I can't remember. And he had to stop them because he needed to do more testing, and then winter was coming too, which they can't do some of that testing in the winter. So I think that they're interested. I think what's going to happen here is they're gonna wanna know if the city's gonna pay for it, or give them some kind of a break on it, or if they're gonna pay for it or what. So that's what's gonna happen here. I think they're very interested in it yet, but.
Yeah. They just have to get it done at the right price.
Who put in the infrastructure?
The original developer,
Why would the city pay for it then?
Yeah.
because
why-
the city owns a lot,
They own
so.
it now.
So the question now is who's
How long
responsible?
have you guys, has this thing been sitting out there undeveloped?
Since pre-recession
Right.
days,
Do you
so.
have it on your levy? Is it still, are you still drawing potential taxes out of that place?
Well, no,
No,
because I
I realize
say,
nobody ever went in there, but a lot of
No,
times.
because we got it in tax forfeiture, so
Oh,
we
so you
can,
did?
so we can only sell it for what we put into it so far.
Okay, so you, same thing that Dassel went through with somebody else.
Yeah.
You did go through tax forfeiture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know that our finance person was in that meeting, and he said too that he's worked as an administrator for like St. Peter and some other bigger cities, and he said the thing that we as a city have to remember is if they come to us and say, well, we want you to pay for the infrastructure, well, they're hardly paying anything for that land. And if they had to buy property to develop, they would be paying that money to develop that.
They stand as being a sizable gain on that property.
Yeah.
Right, Dassel still hasn't done a thing about the, the bad roads and all that stuff in Summit Hills, and they're selling lots one after another, but they're not about to sink it in there, because that's the developer's deal. So it's a bad precedent to set, especially when you've got, if you've got more than one, to start saying you're gonna do this stuff. You're gonna walk down a rabbit hole you never get out. And if a developer wants to develop and they've got the money, then they can do it. If they don't, they're always gonna be on a shoestring, and they're always gonna be coming to the city looking for money. You're better off not to do anything with it than you are to.
And I think
to do
that's
that.
kind of what
That's-
Mr.
that's what I
Sweeney
think.
was saying about that, same exact thing that you're
Yeah.
saying.
Well, a developer will always ask for whatever they
Yeah,
can.
sure.
So
And the
they
city
they
should
want
say
to
no.
go TIF, and we're basically gone now or nothing, so.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame.
So,
Anyway.
How about the old Casey's building, any updates on that?
I haven't been able to get a hold of anybody for that site. It looks like there's nothing happening
Yeah.
with that, so.
I have a suggestion. Somebody should be monitoring that because there's people walking their dogs in that parking lot, and the dogs are expelling their waste, and it's not being picked up.
We can pass that along to sheriff's office. That would be who would enforce something like that.
Because we don't own that building, we don't own that land. Right, that's still owned by Casey's corporate.
Yeah, it's still private property, yeah.
Casey's corporate owns that yet.
no, it's owned by a gentleman that bought it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Casey sold it.
Casey sold it?
it's a gentleman that has a skid steer business. I don't know if it's
I
in,
think it's in Dassel.
is it in Dassel?
Oh, is it Farm Right?
Pardon?
Did Farm Right buy it?
No, well, I don't know if his business is.
I don't know.
It's
I've
an
only-
individual.
yeah.
That's a big Bobcat dealership.
It's an
Yeah.
excellent dealer, more or less. They're like, I think that makes attachments and stuff.
Yeah, and so I don't know if he's from Coquito or Dassel, but he
Must be
wanted
from
to
Coquito.
display his attachments in, that's why he wanted to buy that property.
Okay.
But there's some things that we're requiring of him, like a survey, and we did tell, even before he bought it, we did tell the realtor that and him up front. And so he does know from the planner what he needs to do, and we just haven't received the documents from him. So now, getting our EDA up and starting, Councilmember Marzlick and the EDA want to meet with him and see if there's any kind of assistance we can give him through the EDA as far as with the survey or whatever. So we're working with him. I think he's a little frustrated, but
I think he was hoping to do the project a lot cheaper than what it's turning out to be, so it hasn't gone anywhere as a result.
But I do want to be very clear that he knew up front what he had to do. We did tell him from day one, so, on more than one occasion. So we'll get a meeting set up with him. Try to get, because that way in spring he can start doing whatever he needs to do.
Any more updates?
Yeah, we heard from the solar farm developer yesterday. They have updated plans and an updated lease that they're going to provide to the city council here at the next city council meeting. I haven't seen those plans yet. I just found out about this yesterday. And they had also responded to some other questions that the council had about the project. So they are planning actually to come to the next city council meeting and present some of those updates that the council had requested. So that project is moving forward. That's all I had.
Deb, do you have any updates?
No, I don't. I think that I should let you know that the EDA is going to be working on putting together some type of brochure and information so that if a business, if we want to go out and recruit a business or a business is interested in coming to town, we can hand it to them and say, this is what land we have available, this is what the land cost. What are some of the other things that you, oh, just pictures, maps showing. So we're going to work with,
roads.
we're going to work with Mr. Gritman, and we're going to work with our city engineer, because we did tell him to, and just get something put together that is available. We'll get it on our website. Right now, Councilmember Marslick's been looking at other city websites and getting some of theirs that they have. And we do have some information on ours, but it's not updated. So we're in that process of working on that. So hopefully we bring some more businesses and housing developments to you guys for consideration. Get rocking and rolling here.
So what's the plan for next month? Would you like us to tackle next month? What are your thoughts?
Deb, did you have an ordinance update that you wanted us to work on? Or?
We have to work on the whole ordinance, so.
Well, what do you want to tackle next?
Say what's next on the agenda?
Should Ryan and I evaluate it and then we'll just bring it forward to you? You don't really have a preference about what we tackle or?
I just didn't know.
Might as well just
Pick
start
one
at
and-
the top and start working your way down.
I didn't know if there's one in particular that you were thinking.
Okay, so we'll look at
It
it.
seems to me that this was the one that you had been most concerned about.
Well, I want it done by spring.
Yeah, so.
So we'll look at some more zoning stuff in relation to code enforcement. And then there was that, we talked about that last meeting, there was that policy that Mr. Powers was trying to put together that outlined things that also would assist me when I'm doing my code enforcement. But there were some concerns that the city council had regarding that policy. So maybe we'll bring that back to you next month too, and we'll get going on that. If I can locate it. Sometimes you
Yeah,
can't.
if you can locate.
Well, we're not locating a lot of things that we need to for Mr. Powers, so.
Yeah, it's all on his cell phone.
So we'll look at that too, but yeah, Ryan and I will look and we'll get going. And I do appreciate your patience with this and your help with this. I think we're making some real positive changes and I'm really excited about it.
Well, and I have heard that the state, we have to change some of our wording with manholes or womanholes. It's got to say sewer cover or things like that.
I don't think, when you went to that training, it's not a mandate, is it? It's just something they,
It's, how do I say it without being politically incorrect? There are a lot of people in the state that have nothing better to do than to go back and review all these things, and they don't want things to say manhole, they want it to say, whatever, sewer cover.
so how do you say the word mandate then?
Yeah.
Personate.
Personate.
You just say manhole cover and keep going.
I know Mayor Otto and Councilmember Marslick went to a training through the League of Minnesota Cities, and they both said that it's not mandated, that they're asking cities to look at that.
To look at them.
Before the state does mandate it.
Yeah.
So,
That's an easy fix.
Yeah, that would be an easy fix, I would think. You just change the manhole to sewer cover.
We're going to be looking at the whole ordinance. And you guys know that, they need to be updated, and we want to get them codified because we don't have them out there on our website. They haven't codified way before my time with the city, so,
And how often do we have to update these ordinances?
people usually, typically, once they approve a new one, they codify it right away
Yeah,
and put it into the ordinance. I mean, other city I've worked for, that's what they did, so I don't know what happened here, but I know too, we're going to have Ryan's company they are willing to look at our ordinances, and there's a lot of updates that they can make that we'll just bring to you and say, we gotta do this or we have to do that. That'll help speed up the process to get everything codified.
Thank you. I think that'd be a good idea.
And our city attorney also said that they do that, they look at those as far as the city code portion and get everything codified.
So I want to personally welcome Sean to planning and zoning.
Thank you.
Welcome. Does anybody else have any further business to be brought before this planning and zoning commission meeting? Hearing no further business, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:27.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the planning and zoning commission meeting for Wednesday, February 12th at 7:27. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
My buddy said to ask
It's west of Clemente. West of Clemente, south side of
No, I got it.
You just said